watching you dance and watching the rhythm that you brought to this community, and I like what I've heard you speak about. I like your energy, and I wanted for you to share with me and those who see this interview what it is that brings you to Cuajinicuilapa. What has brought you here, and what are you here to accomplish?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's been a pleasure to meet you too, and I think maybe if I tell you a little bit about my personal history, you can understand how I've got to the point I am right now. When I moved 7 years ago from Guadalajara to Veracruz, because I was looking for more rhythm, for more music, for drums, dancing, and I didn't know, but I felt that I would find it there. So when I was right, I found a big movement of African and Afro-Caribbean dancing and drum playing and singing, and I was just into that immediately. I started to learn about it and participate with a lot of enthusiasm, as if I belonged there. But I had moved there also because I wanted to study anthropology. And so when I started studying anthropology, I had a chance to work here in Oaxaca for the Procuraduría para la Defensa del Indígena. And there they gave me some choices to where to work, and I found a very isolated topic that was the Afro-Mexicans, and I was like very surprised about it, and I decided to work on that summer, and that's the first time I came here about 6 years ago, and made a small monography about some towns in Oaxaca, black towns. I started with Pinotepa, which is like cabecera municipal, and Collantes, Corralero, and El Ciruelo. And it was very revelador, I don't know, revealing or
Okay.
that for me it was like I could find that I could understand why I felt so much this music and this dance and this beat, because that's where I discovered that we have a strong African root in Mexico, and I was as surprised as many Mexicans are still being every day, because that doesn't come in our education. We're not even told about it in a very far away way. It's like you just don't know, and you don't know how they participated in the Independence War, in all these historical events. So I just went deep into that, making research, and then I have been combining the three things: dancing, playing, and anthropology, until now I'm doing my final work, some kind of thesis for my degree about the music and dance tradition in two areas of Mexico that have very evident African ascendance, like Veracruz with its music, which is called son jarocho, and Costa Chica, which has many different dances and traditions, but son de artesa is the one that I chose to research in a deeper way, and I'm gonna compare the two types of son, which have Spanish roots, African roots, indigenous roots, but that are played in places where the African essence is very, you can perceive it very, very strongly. So if I would just be in anthropology, if I would only be an academic, I think I wouldn't be here because the academic area is, I feel it like a little far away. It's like we come and do research, but sometimes those results are not useful for the people, or sometimes are discussed in very far away places where people that are involved in it, the people that come from where this information comes from, don't have access to it. So, and if I would only be a musician and dancer, I would be doing my thing also maybe far away too, because I wouldn't have the social commitment to try to put it in this region, these people's hands. So I think I was telling you the other day, I'm trying to make a bridge between the academic area and the artistic area, because I think it's not a coincidence that in Veracruz this movement that has like 25 years old, that is like 25 years old, has made such a strong root. People play and dance the African and Afro-Caribbean music as if it belongs to them. And sometimes these people are not like African, like they're like light skin like me, no? But we feel it. So I think that we could make this, we could make stronger links between the people who have the most evident historic herencia. What's herencia? Heritage?
Heritage. Mm-hmm.
Which lost a lot of tradition because they have been isolated, they have been mistreated, they have been, well, you know, all these sad things that have happened, and us that have had the chance to get in touch with cultures like the Cuban culture, Haitian. In Veracruz we have an Afro-Caribbean festival that nourishes the movement. And I know that playing and dancing and singing here is a way of connecting to the people's hearts. And that's when people feel the memory of their bodies that we have something in common, and that we have a strong root, that maybe we don't know what Africa is, we don't know where it is, we don't know a lot of things, but we just know that we have, if I tell them this is African music and they feel it and that they identify with it, they just flow with it, then I think something is happening, no? It helps for all of us to accept our African root, because I think it's part of our identity and pride. And I'm also learning a lot about the people here. I wish sometime we could make a big project with also biologists or ecologists or other people that could help them, because they live very close to nature. They live with very little pollution, like you said, not the pollution we have at the city. So it's not like, oh, let's help them stay like that, like the indigenous movement that wanted everybody to be kept isolated so they wouldn't change the way they live. And I don't think it's like that. I think some education programs would help them to to be proud about how they are living in this 21st century, which is surprising. They keep their traditional architecture. They have very immediate relation to the earth, to a lot of things. So I wish something could be done so they could keep these natural ways of production or living without staying isolated culturally or in matters of health or education, things like that.
I wonder, you said you decided to study anthropology, and then you kind of stumbled upon this information about Black Mexico and the history of African people in Mexico. Were there other events in your life, things that may have happened, or something about your experience, some of your experiences before, or family connections, or the environment in which you grew up in, that helped you take this path of consciousness, of wanting to be as involved in the struggle in the way that you are, because there's a lot of resistance in the culture. The resistance is expressed in the culture and the music, in the ways that people carry themselves. And I'm just wondering, as far as your personal development and growth, what may have happened in your past that has helped you get to where you are today?
I don't know, man. Really, it's because it's something that I think it's intuition that has guided me, because I grew, as most Mexicans, I grew with the idea that light skin is better, that economic position, all that trash, no? So it's like when I had like 15 years old and I denied, like I just went away from all these things that I felt that they weren't real, they like so many lies. And I think what saved me is like art, no? Music, dance, and other poetry and many things. And that I think the drum and the dancing and everything gave me like the possibility to see the other side of the universe that I was missing, no? Because I wasn't taught to be able to see it as most of us. We are taught in our aesthetic values are from here to there, and we miss a whole lot, most of it, no? So I relearned everything, and from there, in anthropology, for example, there's a movement about the history that is not told, no? Microhistory, or I don't know, there's a movement, no, about what hasn't been told. And that's what I think that also guided me to look for that thing that hasn't been told, that has been also not only not told but denied or manipulated, to make people take certain values that do not correspond to the reality. And that's where I found, and that's where you find how these people whose history is not being told are resisting, no? And of course you identify and you share with them. And with the music and the dance, I have had the chance to go to other black pueblos, like in Cuba or in Guatemala, Livingston, with the Garífunas, the Garífuna people, I admire them a lot because, all their message is like, it's about, it's resistance, pure resistance, no? but it's also, they're very strong, and they have been in very extreme situations and dangers, and they're there. So also I have seen that by being an anthropologist or by being in a big group like the one I danced at, Rumbamba, has given me the chance to participate in this net of black pueblos in the country, and if we can go farther than that, well, that's beautiful.
Have you been in the United States?
Yeah, I was in New Orleans, which I liked a lot, and I have been in California, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Berkeley, well, around San Francisco. I identify with the Africans and the Afro-Americans. Sometimes Mexicans don't recognize me, but it's because of what I do, no? And yeah, we're making links, and for example, I saw a movie about about the Garifunas in Guatemala, and then in San Francisco I met the director, so he gave me a copy, and I brought it here to the Encuentro de Pueblos so we could share it, and some Garifunas from Honduras might come to the Encuentro, and that's the way we're working. We're keeping in touch and trying to let people meet and share, no? Like, because for example, the pueblos negros in Veracruz, they're very isolated from each other. So first we have to let them know each other, and then maybe we can bring some people here to Costa Chica and people from here there, and that kind of work.
So it's obvious from what you're saying that in Veracruz, the black pueblos are disconnected. They're not organized in the way that the Encuentro has been organized here in Costa Chica.
Yeah, it's because there's one pueblo very far to the north called Tamiagua, and there's another one called Coyolillo, which is more to the center, and then there's another one called Mata Clara, but there's no, well, you know that us researchers and foreigners, we always have consequences with our presence. So before, people didn't even talk about Africa, or it's us who, or the anthropologists and historians that have gone there before me, that have, in a way, promoted the idea of this origin to the people there, and some recognize it, some don't, but it's little by little that we don't. In my case, I don't want them to say, like, to adopt an identity that maybe, because it's a big thing, no, it's not just like to say. But yeah, but we just want to, for example, with these visits from people of other places, or with these cultural events, they just feel that they're not alone, that there's other people like them, and that they can feel good about how they are, how we are, no? Bueno, pues I wanted to remind us about a symposium that took place in Oaxaca, I think almost 4 years ago. And it was like more an academic symposium about the African presence, historical African presence in Mexico. And we got a lot of interesting messages from the African people that came here, like Eric Camara from Senegal, who lives in Mexico City, Yoro Fall from Senegal, Nicolas Ngoube or something like that, he is from Gabon, and some other people from the States like Bobby Vaughn and academics from Mexico too. And I think it was very important that they came, because they reminded us that it's not just about black people, you know, it's about African descendants, and that is totally different. It's like, well, I don't want to start this academic discussion about black culture or African culture, or the fact is that we are here right now, today, and that we have to connect, we have to link, we have to get in touch. We don't need to wait until for somebody to come and remind us that we have something very valuable, and that there are other people with whom we can share it. And for example, if each of us looks towards their family and their surroundings, and we can discover and recover a lot of things that are getting lost. And in all levels, like in small towns like here and in big cities, everywhere. A lot of people are moving to the States from here, from Veracruz too, and what's going to happen with the culture of these people that are going to stay there. And probably they are going to remember what their grandmother said, or what the activities they would make and have here, but their sons and daughters. So immigrants who are there in the States, try to get to remember your roots and transmit it to your kids and to your family, because this is the way the African culture was kept when the people who were forced to be slaves were brought to America, and that's the same story, no? Immigrants who were here and they had very few resources to keep their culture, but they kept unified, and that's what gave them strength. So it's the same thing, no? Now people are being immigrants, but migrating to the north, and that's the way we have to preserve the tradition. And it's not just like to keep it in a can, no? It's about to preserve it and recreate it and make it ours, no? To let it grow, to let it stay alive. That's why son jarocho is very important in Mexico's culture right now, because it was getting lost, it was extinct, and some young people were like, okay, this is our root, what's going on? And they started interviewing old people, the last musicians, the last dancers, and they made workshops of instrument construction, dancing, singing, playing jaranas, and now those young kids who were in those workshops now are doing some beautiful things, like they are making live music, no, not live, but live music, like they're making their own arrangements, they are experimenting, but they are the bearers of the tradition. The
bearers.
They are the ones who have the
keepers of the tradition.
Yeah, and it's very good that they are doing new things with it, no? Because that's the way they're gonna keep it alive. I want to sing a small piece of a son jarocho called, well, this is a small verse, and they use it for different sones, but mostly for one song called El Buscapiés, and it goes like this. A la sombra de un papayo, dejé amarrada mi suerte, dejé amarrada mi suerte. A la sombra de un papayo, soy mujer que no desmayo, ni dejaré de quererte, solo que me parta un rayo, o que me lleve la muerte.
Thank you. Thank you. What's the song, the message in this song?
They sing about love, they sing about when they communicate in a doble sentido way, you know, like they say something but they mean another, and so that's the way to they can fight with somebody. Yeah, always it's always that way. Son Jarocho communicates and communicates underground, and I think that comes from cimarrón tradition too. Maroon, you know, it's a way of communicating in a very, only people who know understand what's going on.
One last comment from you. The drum. I've seen you with the drum, so you play the drum, obviously.
Okay, the drum. It's an instrument that I discovered when, well, in Guadalajara, but I came to study to start learning it in Veracruz, and realizing that it's a path. The drum is a whole path. It's not just like, well, I don't understand it just as like a game or something. So, and the female drummer's path has been a little bit difficult in Veracruz, because as you must know, most drummers have been male, and the information about female drummers has been very scarce. But I have been doing research, because in a moment when I felt so much resistance from other drummers, I was thinking, well, maybe the traditional way is like that, and I don't have to push against it, no? Or maybe they're right. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. But I did find pictures about female drummers, traditional drummers in Africa, and also from just female percussionists in other cultures. So the way we have been
Stereotype, labeled.
Yeah, well, no, I was gonna say the way we have dealt with this is that to understand and make our friends understand, our male friends understand, that we don't want to play like them, because sometimes they're like, you don't play like us, come, no? And no, you don't play like us, you don't play. And it's not like that. That's why I'm working with 2 other women, because we have a female band, and we're just experimenting with female creative energy and finding our own way of drumming. And of course we're trying to follow the traditional ways. We do want to learn with traditional teachers, but and master drummers, but we are also finding our own way of expression with it. And right now I'm using mostly the djembe, the West African drum, but there's also a big tradition of Cuban percussion, like tumbadoras and all its rhythms. And we're also experimenting with small percussion instruments, because we dance too, and we don't want to forget about that.
Lilly, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Been wonderful, and I really appreciate it very much. I appreciate you for who you are and the way you've developed. And like I said, I really like your energy, and wish you all the success, and I want to keep in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.